to some responsibilities. Now, on the role of the Senate regarding division of revenue bill, by the way, in as much as Article 93, 94, 96 are very clear on the role of the senators, we had faced a lot of challenges between ourselves and National Assembly when Article 93 is very clear. Between us and national government, and between us and the county government. Those challenges have been there, and it was difficult for Senate to deliver on its mandate. Now, Article 217, 218 of the Constitution envisions a central role by the Senate in division of revenue. But with time, during the second Senate, we were actually completely cut off. National Assembly said we had no roles in the division of revenue bill, in debate and passing. And I think that is the key role that Senate has to play. If you are denied that, you cannot just sit and watch. What we did, our speaker then was thorough. We had to walk from KICC to the courts after issuing a press statement. And the good thing is that we got a ruling. So sometimes, as members, you can make a decision. But the challenge is that the speaker has to be the head of the institution. And normally we face challenges when the speaker is a bit shaky in taking leadership role. I remember when we had issues on the bills that were passed by the National Assembly, the 28 bills without concurrence of the Senate. Me and Susan, we had to cause a drama in the lounge when the speaker said, I can't walk to the High Court. We said, you will be impeached, Mr. Speaker. You are either bringing yourself here to work with us all the way from Parliament to Milimani. So, these positions, sometimes they are very sweet, Mr. Speaker, sir. But sometimes you have bullets to bite. So, lazima ujitayarishe. And I remember we went to Speaker Lusaka to State House for signing of some bills. Tulisomewa kusomewa. Nyinyi ni nani munanipeleka kotini? Yeah? So there are certain things you will be forced to do, sometimes in the interest of devolution, in the interest of the House. So I'm just warning you. I'm sure things might come up with time. So fortunately, we were able to get a ruling where Senate was able to debate on the division of revenue bill and also passing. So that is a plus for the second Senate. Now, similarly, there is still ongoing debate on the proper role of the Senate in the budget-making process, the initiation of money bills, and the approval of the nominees for the appointment of state officers. I remember very well, in the second Senate, we did a lot of work on Prisons Act. And we brought actually a motion on the floor of the House. We were given a select committee to look at Prisons Act up to date. And I think it was 1972, if I'm not wrong. Maybe Dr. Okello can tell us when it was amended. From 1972 to date, Prisons Act has not been amended. So since I had experience from KNCHR, I said I should spearhead to see how we can amend that act. Unfortunately, after Senate has allocated money, we did a lot of work. We went to several countries to share experience. We were told, this is a money bill. You can't proceed. So, this is an issue that we will have to grapple with. You will develop an interest as a member. You want to amend this, you want to amend that. But National Assembly, they always have issues with certain legislations that Senate has an interest. And I think those who are here from National Assembly now, tunavavia tumoja, you will feel what we used to feel. It's really very unfortunate. So those are the challenges we are still facing. And the fourth Senate, should be able to deal with those money issues. And again, the relationship between the Speaker of both houses. We had a lot of problems in the second Senate because there was a frosty relationship between the two speakers. And that is why most of the things didn't pass. Appointment of the state officers. We had to fight actually to come on board to interview G. And I remember then it was it Boynet? Yes, Boynet. National Assembly said, kazi ya Senate ni mashinani. They cannot interview IG. We had to fight. Until now, we are able to sit in that interview and actually interview the state officers, basically the IG under the Security Committee. Role of the Senate regarding bills concerning county governments, as details, Article 109, 112, the Constitution, the Senate must necessarily be involved in the legislation process of bills concerning county government. Sometimes they will do their own things, like the 28 legislations. 23 of them are matters actually affecting counties. But National Assembly went ahead and sent it to the President without concurrence of the Senate, of the Speaker of the Senate and the Senate. And I think that is where our speakers are supposed to be vigilant, and also the executive, to make sure that National Assembly, they don't pass things that are supposed to come to the Senate. We have actually an appeal in the High Court where the 23 were nullified. 5 are still, is it at the Supreme Court or Court of Appeal, Dr. Okello? Supreme Court. So we have to keep on fighting, because it's normally very difficult when Senate would want actually to take matters to court. We face a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to the decision being made by the National Assembly. So we have a problem there. So the House and the Speaker and the Secretary, they have to be vigilant. Article 110.3, this is the concurrence of the bills, which I have actually said before. And again, as a result of that ruling, which I have said by the petition of the Senate, we were petitioning lack of concurrence on the 28 bills. We actually got a ruling on the 23. Those were actually expended because they are yearly legislations. But the 5 remaining, they are still in court. Then consultative framework between the Senate and the county government on the budget process. Despite the Senate being mandated to scrutinize budget policy statement and allocate national revenue to counties, no structured interaction currently existed between senators and their respective county governments on these issues. Because money is sent, you have no role as a senator, and yet you are supposed to oversight that money. So those issues, we must work on it as a fourth Senate to make sure that there is a framework and there is a structure. I know some of the governors then who are represented here, they never wanted senators to know what they are doing on the ground. But right now, tuko pamoja, lazima tufanye kazi. Yeah? But what third Senate did, we made sure that controller of budget shares the budget with you from their office, so that you know what the county is allocated. This is outside any legal framework. So those who are elected senators, you'll have to pursue with controller of budget. Or there is an officer actually allocated to you to be actually sharing the budget that is sent to your county. At least you are in picture. That is outside any legal framework. But it's something now as a fourth Senate that we must fight on. It should be actually within a legal framework. Transfer function between county government and the national government. Article 187 of the Constitution enables the transfer constitution functions between the levels of government. And I think this one, we had a lot of issues with Nairobi County, where some of the functions were transferred to the national government. We really fought. And I remember Senator, the current governor for Nairobi, was actually forefront in terms of ensuring that he has protected the county functions. Now, achievement, the Senate Committee on Constitutional and Legal Review, there was actually, after we had that issue of revenue sharing, and we were unable actually to understand what is our role and all that, the Senate established a select committee where it was, I think, chaired by Senator Murkomen. By the way, apologies from Senator Murkomen. He was the one to do this presentation, but he's out of the country, so I'm just stepping in for him. So I think it was Senator Murkomen and Mutula who were the chair and the vice chair. Then the issues came up that came up out of that select committee was lack of clarity on the shared spatial specific role of both houses. Lack of clarity on the meaning of the bill concerning county government, while also noting that all matters concerning counties, the legislative matters of the Senate with respect to money bills, which I have actually indicated. I remember very well, I don't know where that bill has been assented to. The National Assembly tried even to remove Senate from looking at international obligations. And you know, most of those international obligations, some of them are matters governing county government. So we had to fight to make sure to reinstate it. And I think maybe, Dr. Okello, are you here? So, yes, have we reinstated that position? Or it's in progress. So you can imagine having removed from looking at international obligations. You are useless. Because those matters, majority of them, and most of them are actually matters affecting county government. County government. Then the other matter is the role of the Senate in the budget-making process, limited role of the Senate and approval of nominees for the appointment of the state officers. And I think this is a matter we need to look at also. Because I don't know how we are going to handle it, but it's a matter that we need to discuss and have a way forward on it. Lack of constitutional provision to Senate leadership. While National Assembly leadership is detailed under Article 108 of the Constitution. So the mention of the leadership of the Senate is nowhere in legislation. So ni ukarabati tunafanya. So I think this is something also we need to fight for. Independence of the county assemblies to ensure effective oversight of a county executive. I think this one we have also tried. Because at the initial stage, county assemblies were actually at the mercy of governors. Because they didn't have actually independence as far as their budget is concerned. And there is so much audit query as far as that relationship was concerned, where the monies were not actually transferred properly. But I think right now they are doing well. Some of the issues identified by the Select Committee have since been subject of judicial interpretation, some of them. Bills concerning county government, and I think I have said that. Increased allocation of resources, which we have talked about it. Enhancing independence and capacity of the assemblies. I think I have tried. And at the Senate level, we have a liaison office where we said the county assemblies should come for training for a week or for the number of weeks they want. Then PSC has also a structure where they have a training institution where they can be able to send their staff. We have forums of devolution conference between ourselves and the governors and other relevant institutions. The legislative summits, which actually gives us a lot of interaction as far as the issues are concerned. Again, in the third Senate, we tried Senate Mashinani. And we had Senate Mashinani in Uasin Gishu and also in Kitui, where we felt we need to move from the national level. And actually, people really appreciated that arrangement. And I remember it really profiled the Senate. And we tried to solve a lot of issues that were pending, be it audit issues, be it matters affecting communities within those counties. And I think maybe this Senate, Mr. Speaker, sir, maybe you will be able to do something about it so that we can work in other counties that we have not actually reached out to. Then during COVID, we were able actually to continue with our debate through virtual meetings, hybrid. Those who were able to come, they were able to come, and those who were unable, they were also allowed to contribute through virtual. Now, way forward, and before way forward, I have talked about Sang Bill, which I really believe, although it was unconstitutional, we need to do something as Fourth Senate to see how we can be able to interact with the counties, to know what is happening. You are told to oversight projects within the counties. You don't have any structure. You don't know what is happening. Members of public are going to ask you questions. Project A, B, C, D, what is happening? You don't even know. So what do we do as a Fourth Senate to make sure that we know what is happening? There was also a matter on source revenue where the governors took us to court. And they said, Senate has no mandate in auditing on-source revenue. Surely. County Assembly is the one to audit on-source revenue. This matter is still in court. The ruling was given in favor of the governors, but County Assembly has no capacity. And this is something that should have actually complemented the national government budget. But unfortunately, the ruling was in their favor. We have appealed against that decision. So we are not auditing today on-source revenue at the county level. I think Governor Zamuta Tupiga. Now, the other matter is delay in implementation of Auditor General's report. Sometimes when it comes to us, Auditor General's report, we do make recommendations, but sometimes you will see that it's not implemented. So this is also something we need to see how we can be able to make sure that we have delivered on our mandates. Because Public Accounts Committee will look at audit queries, make recommendations. At the end of the day, it's not implemented. So something needs to be done. Then PSC. PSC, we have issues. National Assembly has 4 commissioners. We have 3. There are 2 from outside. We should be having equal share because when it comes to voting on matters of welfare, we will normally have a challenge because we don't have numbers. And I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is your area and your concern. This time round, we must have equal share of commissioners. There are 2 actually there are 2 from outside. And even the 2, in the experience that I had from in Parliament, all of them are from National Assembly. And when it comes to matters of either a Senate or National Assembly, they vote with National Assembly. So, and I think this time round, when the issues of commissioners come to us, we must elect somebody from the Senate to represent us in the commission so that we have equal shares. And this is a matter that we should fight on now before it is implemented. The other matter is oversight fund, although we have been promised that is going to be sorted out. And I think this time around we have our own colleague, Senator Weta, who knows the challenges we are facing. But I think over the years we have been promised severally. I had the benefit of sitting in the first committee where Kiraitu Murungi was the chair. I remember we were given 40 million to spend within, was it 2 months, I think? 2 months, if I'm not wrong. And we were told the only way you can access that money is for you to prepare an activity in your counties. And then once you prepared, you send it to the secretariat, they disperse the money to you. Before we develop the structure, the term has already lapsed. That 40 million, it didn't go anywhere. The second Senate, actually the Senate nominated me to be the chair of the Oversight Fund. I honorably agreed to chair the committee. We went through so many processes. We have been to State House thrice or twice. We have been promised the money will be given to you. We went even to State House in Mombasa. I remember the current president took us to Mombasa to negotiate on that. And the president was categorical. He said, Senate, you must give them the money. CDF is illegal. NGAF is illegal. Let also Oversight Fund be illegal. And he called Rotich then in Mombasa. We were told on Monday we must have a meeting in the Speaker's office. We went for a meeting. Rotich was there. I think the clerk was there. The leadership of both houses were there. We discussed. And we were told, since this is not a development fund, we must come up with a regulation. Initially, we developed a legislation. It was thrown out. We were told it's not a development fund. Then we were told to develop regulations. We developed regulations. Yeah? And in all those meetings, National Assembly leadership and the political leadership, they were all saying, tutawapatia pesa hamna shida. So, the regulation went up to Treasury. I remember we had a meeting with Treasury, Auditor General, AG, all those institutions. We had meetings for weeks to make sure that we have a regulation, we had a budget. Clerk was told to open an account within his secretariat so that the money is actually transferred from Treasury, and was it an overhead? I think he created an overhead under his docket. He did that. Twice, when the money was put in the budget at the national level, it was removed actually and reallocated to PAC and for other activities. So even after Clark established an account under his docket, 500 million was put in there. We established actually the regulations. PAC passed. I don't know what happened after that. We never managed to get that money. Surely. We didn't have then. I think there was so much debate in our wall. But as a second and third Senate, we have really fought for Oversight Fund. Maybe there was no political will. Maybe our brothers in the National Assembly then didn't see the need. I think those who are here, they know now there is a need. To Saidiane, the only way that we can be able to deliver on our mandate is that we must actually have Oversight Fund. Because you go to the county, you don't know anything. And I think we went through a very lengthy process just to see how Senate can be able also to utilize the money. We have all the documents, we have all the records. The only thing that is left is the money allocated. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are appealing to you to saidia tafadhali tupate your Oversight Fund. So we have tried to that level. Finally, I wish to thank the Secretariat. For the 2 terms I've been in the House, they have been quite useful. Very supportive, very professional. Those who are new, don't hesitate. You will get a lot of actually material shared with you. The only thing is that don't take your positions for granted. You need to work for it. You need to ask where there are questions. But the bottom line is, as senators, we have issues that actually put us together. We must unite where we need to unite to make sure that devolution works, to make sure that it delivers on its mandate. Issues of parties, yes, imeleta nyinyi katika bunge. But sometimes, I remember when we had the 3rd generation formula, Some of us, we had to abandon the government for the county. And I remember I was being summoned in Jubilee House. You either drop the leadership of the house or you support the division of revenue bill. I told them, chukua hiyo leadership. I can't abandon my county. So many of us actually had to be sacrificed because of that. So my appeal to you, let us work together for devolution, for ourselves, and for prosperity of our Senate and the leadership of this country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. I think she has brought us to the realities of things. I had said it is very easy to read Article 96, but vitu ground ni tofauti. May I now invite His Excellency Governor Stephen Sang. Stephen Sang, you are our favorite because of the Sang bill. Do you still believe in it?
Thank you, Senator Kamar. Right Honorable Governor Senator Amason Kingi, the Speaker of the Senate, the Deputy Speaker, all the senators present, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you on your election back to the Senate for those who are coming and the new ones into the Senate. I want to congratulate you and particularly single out two of my colleagues, Senator Governor Roba and Senator Governor Mandago. We served in the COG together. I can assure the Senate that you will have very interesting contributions from those two gentlemen. It will enrich the discussions in the Senate, particularly around, accountability and how the COG views a number of those issues. I want to say that as a discussant, I will just address a few points and then be available for discussion on issues that will come from the floor. When I was requested to come, particularly the focus was on the lessons learned and to examine the expectations moving forward for the Senate. And I think I want to congratulate and thank Senator Fatuma Dulo for that chronological presentation of the journey. And I think she has been very accurate. I was there in the second Senate, and quite a number of the struggles we went through, she has been able to capture. Since our role as the Senate are broadly into four thematic areas, one being the legislative role of the Senate. Fatuma Dula has mentioned, Senator has mentioned a number of those challenges in terms of Article 110. And if you look at the role of Senate, the legislative role of Senate, at the center of that discussion is Article 110. And I think this is one, if we are able to address this particular challenge on Article 110, we should be home and dry with regard to safeguarding the mandate of the Senate with regard to legislation. If you look at that law or that article, it is as clear as day and night. Very clear. Matters affecting counties. It's this phrase of the law is very clear. I think this particular article is as clear as it can be. Yet we have had 10 years to struggle to understand